Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahushai, Brakati Yahweh, Brakati Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim, Rakutash. That belongs to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, true well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there, you Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. On the Priya Shemon, let's talk about Trump and the 2024 presidential campaign. Um, in the news, right? What's going on in the news? It says Colorado ruling knocks Trump off ballot. What it means, what happens next. This is the first time I'm reading this particular article, but I've known about what happened. Right, Colorado has banned former President Donald Trump from running in the ballot of Colorado because of what happened on January, right, which was a psyop, and it seems like they really don't want this guy in there, this guy Nero in there. Why is that? When Trump is in there, most people make money, and no wars, right? 4 years, no wars. That's no good for people like the military industrial complex or what have you that needs this stuff to go. At the end of the day, this guy Trump, left wing, right wing, is still the same bird. You know, he's still part of the elites. But one thing it can be said is this guy's a pure nationalist, right? You could look at interviews from him in '84 on Letterman, and they asked him what he would do if he was president, and everything he said pretty much back then, he more or less is doing now. So the American people root for this guy, right? They want their stock market up, they want all this their 401k up, and I was one that always thought that since when Trump was in there, America really does well, so to speak, that it would end with him, right? He will bring it to its zenith, and fulfill scriptures wherein the nations are wailing because America is destroyed. Still yet to see. Still it could still come to pass. If this guy gets back in there, who knows what can happen. But they definitely fight him to getting out there and not have him in there. And during the re-election, they pretty much rigged that ballot because this dude President Biden got 86 million votes, which is the most in history ever. And when that thing was going on, that virus, right? Trump couldn't have his so-called rallies, right? Because you had to be 6 feet apart, which would then justify why no one showed up to Biden's rallies, right? So they definitely manipulated the votes, manipulated um, doing things to not get this dude Trump back up in there. But let's see what happens. 2024 is supposed to be a big year, and you know, to me, I find it very interesting, man. Let this guy get in there, stir the pot up. It's always some, shows are far more frequent because this dude is always finding something to do in the news. So let's see how things played out. All right, so with that, let's read this article. Colorado ruling knocks Trump off ballot. What it means, what happens next. The challengers who sought to disqualify Donald J. Trump prevailed on every legal issue, but the case is almost certainly headed for the Supreme Court, where they would have to do so again. The ruling concluded that former President Donald J. Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president because he engaged in insurrection, which is not accurate. I mean, they already showed footage that them people wasn't going crazy. They had agent provocateurs trying to paint the narrative that happened. Just for truth's sakes, that's complete horseshit. Reading, it says the Colorado voters who sought to disqualify Donald J. Trump from the state's 2024 Republican primary ballot ran the table on 8 distinct legal issues on Tuesday night to ultimately keep him off the ballot, though they almost certainly will have to do so again in the U.S. Supreme Court. In a 4-3 decision that set off a political and legal earthquake, the Colorado Supreme Court on Tuesday said that Mr. Trump had engaged in insurrection and therefore was barred by the 14th Amendment from holding federal office. And didn't they try to lock this dude up? They try to lock him up. They try to do all types of shit to not get this guy back in there, man. They really fighting hard, which means that this dude was really helping people out in the sense of so-called America. Why you think these so-called Edomites fight so hard for him? Because he was doing shit to help him out. He's a nationalist. And one thing is greatly associated with Donald Trump is he divides things, right? And this is what it says in Matthew 22:12 and 26 rather. And if Satan, the adversary, all right, the physical counterpart to the spiritual demon Satan right now is a so-called white man. So it says if Satan casts out Satan, he is divided against himself. how shall then his kingdom stand? And this is what they're doing. I know, like in most presidential runs, these guys are buddy buddy with each other. But it really, like, it seems like they truly do hate this dude. Like they want to get him locked up forever, man. So they really fighting against this Trump dude. And Trump, he kind of goes off tangent, off script, if you will, and stirs up the pot. So, um, I don't know if he gets back in there. Like I said, if he gets back in there, shit will be crazy. I think it will be very this because they'll be doing all types of shit to get him out of there. So it'll be very, very interesting, just for the hell of it, to see if the Lord have it play out that way. But going back to the point, when he's in there, America does do well, from a business standpoint or what have you. Um, and America is gonna go out in its zenith, right? It's gonna go out when, because when America goes out, nations are gonna be making money off of America. The land is gonna be bearing the faith. A lot of people are gonna be discouraged, thinking the end is not gonna come. But guess what? The least moment when you think of everything is going good and everything's going well in America, that's when your house is gonna come as a thief in the night and catch those off guard that are not prepared. We will be prepared, Lord willing. The men of the Lord, apostles, the elders, the brothers of Great Millstone. Why? Because we're going to constantly keep doing these lessons till the Spirit allows. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 18, verse 2. It says, "And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils." And the Babylon is talking about is not talking about ancient world Babylon. It's talking about this Babylon. Babal, confusion, lawn, land. This is the land of confusion that it's talking about. It says, "It's fallen has become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of a fornication," which is the philosophies, the democracy, LGBTQ rights, all this type of BS. The nations have drank it, but they throwing they seeing what happens, feminism and woman power and all that type of shit. They drank that faggotry, and look what's happened. It says, "And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through her abundance of delicacies." Yeah, so these nations have made a lot off America, even until this day, man. And that's at the blood, sweat, and tears of the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, which are the Israelites of the Bible. It says, "And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come out of her, my people." Right? So, first thing first is Micah 2 and 10. You got to get the hell out of the mindset of America, and eventually the Lord physically will take his elect out of America via the chariots. Chariots are going to say, "Come down," in the Hebrew, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partake of her sins, and that ye receive not of her plagues. And what's the plague? The Zechariah 14 and 12. And other various plagues, but that's the ultimate plagues, the missiles. Only way you're going to get delivered out of America when the missiles hit in World War III is via the chariots, all right, with the so-called white man called UFOs. It says, "For her sins have reached onto heaven." This is a very sinful place, man. It's just day after day, the amount of wickedness is, again, I say this and I'm not even hyperbole. When we think it's enough and that ain't there, man, ain't no way this shit could get any more wicked. There's a news article with some shit even more wicked. The wickedness in America is asymptotical. It's like it could never really reach an infinite bottom. It's just more and more wickedness till it's like overflowing, man. That's why the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahshai has to come back and just rectify everything. It says, "And the Most High hath remembered her iniquities." Pardon me. "Reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her, double according to her works." And that's what the Lord is gonna do. It's the works that America has done, the rape, robbery, and murder, enslavement of the Lord's people. We're gonna get you devils back in chains, man. It says, "In the cup where she hath filled to her double." That cup is against slavery. "How much she hath glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her For she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is the Lord who hath judged her. Right, that's how this place is going to go out, with thermonuclear destruction. Here it goes now. And the kings of the earth, or presidents, or whatever you want to say, okay? And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication with her, lived deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So yes, these nations have these different trade agreements that they use to prop themselves up. There's a lot of countries that went from third world countries to then their first world countries by trading with America. Most recently, China. China got a bunch of millionaires now. But here's the shit, the more propped up and lax and on its ease America thinks it is, the more off guard they're gonna be when Yahushua comes back. Now, however it plays out, again, I'm speaking as a man. It could be Trump and bring it to the zenith, and people get calm, relax, and then boom, sudden destruction. Or the Lord could keep rolling with Biden and have just more wars continue, taxes and suffering, and that could stir people up to protest and be outraged. So there's different avenues. Okay, at the end of the day, you can't stop these prophecies. They're going to come to pass regardless. And the next major prophecy we're waiting for is that RFID microchip. That's it, man. That's the next major one. Once, because the pieces for World War III is already set up. The chip is already out there. It's just to mandate it and, get this thing rolling. If the CBDC is already set up, like I said, the Most High is already just setting everything up, man. It's just one domino piece after the next, and it's eventually going to push a domino piece down. The rest are going to fall right into place. It says, there's a major and extraordinary holding from a state Supreme Court. Derek Miller, a law professor at the University of Notre Dame, wrote on the election law blog, never in history has a presidential candidate been excluded from the ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. So never, to my knowledge, this is the first time they're doing some shit like this. It says United States Supreme Court review seems inevitable, and it exerts major pressure on the court. The majority on Tuesday said every key legal issue came out against Trump. The sum of these parts is this: President Trump is disqualified from holding the office of president. The majority said in an unsigned opinion, saying that his efforts to overturn the 2020 election results amounted to engaging in an insurrection, and that Section 3 of the 14th Amendment, ratified after the Civil War, bars insurrections from federal office, including the presidency. So they digging deep, man. Like I said, they really don't want this dude out there. Even though the footage release of the so-called insurrection on Fox, and people were just walking around being guided through the Pentagon. It was nothing like they was trying to paint it on the news. The majority added, we do not reach these conclusions lightly. We are mindful of the magnitude and weight of the questions now before us. We are likewise mindful of our solemn duty to apply a law without fear of favor and without being swayed by public reaction to the decision that the law mandates we reach. So, you have to ask yourself, what made them come to this decision? What made them want to, go out their ways to stop this guy from running there? And like I said, when he's in there, shit becomes very interesting. If the most I want to use this guy as the vehicle to end it, or Biden, it doesn't matter, whoever, At the end of the day, we speculate what could happen in terms of that, but ultimately, prophetic wise, America is gonna be out and out of here. All right, whoever the president is when that happens, the most I could play it in different scenarios. Right? It says, but the court gave Mr. Trump a provisional escape route. It put its ruling on hold through January 4th, and if he seeks review in the U.S. Supreme Court, and he is set as he said he will, the state's court said his name would remain on the primary ballot. It could take some time for the justice to act, and the Colorado Republican primary scheduled for March could proceed unaffected. The justice may have to grapple with the cases, many interlocking legal issues which are novel, complex, and extraordinary consequential. Indeed, courts on other states have come to different conclusion on some of the questions. So you have to wonder too, like, what's stopping other states from doing this, right? So like I said, man, they try locking this dude up. I found it interesting, man, that the Colorado banned him from the ballot. I'd never seen them go so hard to get, this one dude out of there. But going back to the topic of Revelations 18 and it's like 18 and 9, when it talks about the nations wailing because this place is going to be destroyed, we won't be. We'll be happy. This is the book of Psalms 58 and 10. It says, "The righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance." So like the righteous shall rejoice when he seeth the vengeance, right? So we're going to be rejoicing when we see the vengeance of Yahweh Shai dish out in America. Turn this place into a huge desert. He shall wash his feet in the blood of the wicked. So while these people are getting excited, with this guy running again and what that might mean for America, at the end of the day, America is going to be destroyed, man. That's it. At the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. Nations are going to be wailing because of the mirth it makes, but we're going to be rejoicing. Quite simply, right? This is the book of Jeremiah 50:45. I'm also thinking about scriptures like, where it says be circumspect, like, and watch things around you, because, they've never done something like this in history. We've never seen something like history in 2020. And when this guy's in there, man, things just tend to happen. Things tend to happen, and this could trigger major things, man. Jeremiah 50:45. Therefore, hear ye the counsel of the Lord that he hath taken against Babylon. Again, this is not the ancient world Babylon. And his purpose that he hath purposed against the land of the Chaldeans. Surely the least of the flock, the least of the nation of Eden, shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. At the noise of the taking of Babylon, the earth is moved, and the cry is heard among the nations. So going to bed again, thinking back to Revelations 18 and 9, all right, when America is out of here, it's going to create ripples throughout the entire world, man, all right? Like, holy shit. Like, it's going to be very hard to believe, man. All these nations speaking in their different tongue, crying and wailing and a whole bunch of mixed emotions at America being destroyed in World War III. And while that's happening, Yahweh Shai is going to be coming back, man. So that's going to be an epic sight. Isaiah 13 and 19, it says, "And Babylon, the glory of the kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency, shall be as when the Most High overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah." And what the Lord did with Sodom and Gomorrah, made it made that place nothing but sulfur. Even today, them scholars go over there and see that, man, because the Lord ancient world detonated or split the atom, if you will, all right, over Sodom and Gomorrah and completely destroyed that place. So America is going to be the next Sodom and Gomorrah. It shall never be inhabited. So this notion that they're building deep underground bunkers, or after World War III, they're gonna come back and rule over America, that's bullshit. All right, there's no nuclear fallout or none of that where people are gonna live after this thing, man. The scripture says it's gonna leave them no root nor branch. Okay, meaning no offsprings are gonna be here. It shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tent there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls, and shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there, and the wild beasts of the island shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces, and her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So this is going to be a huge desert, man. Everyone else in the kingdom is going to be fruitful land, but America is going to be one giant desert, man. It's going to be the kingdom for them desert-like creatures. Okay, that's what America is going to be. So, like I said, Trump, Biden, whoever the hell, DeSantis, At the end of the day, there's only one road where America leads, and that is to their destruction, man. In World War III. With that, I'm gonna give all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashim HaKodash, that belongs to the apostles and the elders. Great Muslim with you well. Salutations to the whole for the elect out there, you Akim to Sadakim that do this thing in the utmost truth and sincerity. Shalom.